Hi everyone. It's time. All right, guys, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to this week's episode of Content Strategy for Realtors. I is
Effective content strategies.
Oh, this is
That's what I
gonna go
love about.
good. This is gonna be a good, I can feel it.
My stuttering gave you that indicator.
That my headphones are tangled. It's just a day, Randy.
Do you guys have a storm coming your way? We have a blizzard warning telling us to bunker down and be ready to stay in the house for like 3 days.
Oh, we don't have that coming here, but I do have people in the comments asking us where we can listen to our past recordings,
So
um, which just validates that Content Strategy School for Realtors, the actual real life podcast, is on its way, guys. So stay tuned. Follow Randy's account because we'll be making announcements off of there. Where you'll be able to listen to all of our past recordings while you drive and show homes. No screens necessary. This is something we're doing to keep you all safe. You're welcome. But also because me and Randy both suffer from screen fatigue. And so
yeah,
while we love to do this live and hang out with our Instagram audience, like I want to be able to learn and like close my eyes and like not get crow's feet. So that's our whole desire behind moving this into a podcast form. It doesn't mean we're gonna go away from live here. It just means that you can the replays on our podcast. And you can check the show notes for anything that we reference when it's up next week.
yeah, I love it because it's actually our first episode is actually up. So we are on all platforms. So yes,
I'm a
but we will.
podcast host.
You are
You
a
have
podcast.
had like you are a seasoned podcast host. I'm sorry,
We are
guys.
officially a podcast. Yep. Thanks to you. You were like, let's just do it. And, I would have overthought it forever.
Oh, oh yeah, no, that's where I am best for you is the fact that I don't let you
Yeah.
overthink things. Yeah.
Well, and that's what one of the huge values that we're going to bring to this podcast is I know that a lot of agents, when it comes to content, they get paralysis by analysis. There's so many experts, there's so much input, there's so many ways to do it. And we are going to simplify content to effectively increase sales, right? Not vanity metrics. That is not what we're here for. So I'm so pumped about that.
Let's talk about this because yesterday you and I had a really good conversation that I was hoping to kind of have in front of our content strategy family here about the type of content that you create attracts the person that you're going to work with. And we are seeing a huge shift in real estate right now with who can actually afford to pay you. And now this is not a conversation, guys, around like buyer comp. That is not this conversation, although that is a very big and valid one. But the affordability is shrinking, right? So the people who can actually afford your services, even if they're not paying you directly, meaning that they can actually afford to purchase a home or that they are looking to sell a home, because both audiences are shrinking. There are just less transactions. And so I think talking today about getting really intentional with the type of content that we're putting out and making sure that that is focused towards people who are going to be able to buy and sell is imperative for the success of a content strategy for a real estate professional right now.
100%. And yesterday, true to our nature, we obviously challenge each other a little bit and we go back and forth on different things. And I am very much a heart leader and I've always loved helping. There's something that you just can't replicate about the time when you hand a first time home buyer their keys, right? And I've loved that and I've sat in that and made that my jam. And, I've had people say, well, don't you want to level up your price point? And of course I sell other houses, of course, but I've never really wanted to walk away from that because I love it so much. But you and I were having a conversation and you gave me a little push. And I have to tell you last night, and I say this with the utmost love and respect for my clients, but we are here to empower agents. And last night I was kind of sitting in the reality of if we do not start attracting a little better qualified buyer or stronger qualified buyer. Okay. So yes, let's help as many people as we can get into ownership while we can. But as the market changes and it gets harder and harder and harder, every transaction where we're barely getting in by the skin of our teeth is going to take more. And so I yesterday was kind of realizing that I have about 6 in escrow right now, and about 5 of them don't need me. but the one or two that need me more than the other five compared, like
Mm,
combined, right? And it's not a problem. I love them, but let's be real. This is a business. Let's be real. So let's for a minute put our hearts away as real estate agents and let's look at this as a business. When people need us at that level, how do we maintain profitability? How do we scale? And how do we protect ourselves when the landscape of our industry is massively changing? And this is what I said to you, Lauren, is I know without a doubt, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it, but I can't change it. Home ownership is changing. In 5 years, home ownership isn't going to be obtainable for the bulk of people as it has been for the past 30 years,
mhm,
right? There's a very real possibility that we're going to become a nation of renters.
mhm.
And as much as we want to run our business a certain way, if we want to stay in business, we have got to pivot who we attract because it is going to get harder to help people obtain home ownership.
Mhm. And if you don't make this adjustment soon, a lot of agents are out of business because they didn't make this adjustment over the last 24 months. I mean, was it 47% of agents sold one home or less last year, right? They could not adjust. Um, and so now they're out of business, right? So here's the thing, guys. The content that you put out attracts the people to you. Okay. And this is, if you haven't listened to our last week's episode with Min from What's a Mortgage, who is doing like 20, what do you say, 25 million or more a month.
Yeah,
His big aha in really working on his content strategy was, I can't speak to people in the down payment saving space. I can't speak to people in the how to increase your credit score space. Like, of course, I'm going to make that content, but I find my bread and butter, the people who are ready to buy, by talking about, should I hold my property in trust, right? And that's just a different quality of person who's going to be coming through the funnel. Not only that, but like, should I consider using my retirement as my down payment? Right. So we have a lot of millennials right now who've been working since they were in their early 20s, who are sitting on, retirement accounts. It's like, what does your future
right,
look like? Not being a homeowner with a retirement account versus what happens if you decide to loan against this, or take a drastic step and potentially cash it out. And this is not financial advice, but these are things that you should be asking yourself, because the earlier you ask yourself them, the better you can put yourself in a position and make an empowered decision for
right,
you. And so Min talked about that power of, he realized that, like, if I talk to just that demographic, it may be smaller, but it is a more qualified demographic. And I see so many agents going for the low level views,
right,
right? Going for the, like, how to repair your credit views, how to save your down payment views, and they're not acknowledging this higher quality of person who is also looking for information. And I think it's because they think that that person's not going to choose their agent through Instagram. But like, the reality is, guys, I meet people every single day who pay me a lot of money that I met through Instagram. I think every relationship I have at this point, I have met through like Facebook or Instagram. Like, this is normal, a normal way to meet your professionals now. And not only that, it's a great way for you to interview yourself for them. So by the time they're reaching out to you, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And really, I'm just calling to see, how do I work with you? Right. And
right,
so that's how creating content for these ideal clients can change the game. Now, it can be scary because you think that this is a smaller demographic, but something that we talked about yesterday, and you guys saw a video I put up this week, was there's no niche too
right,
small, especially when you have a high ticket offer. Real estate's a high ticket offer. I don't really care what is the value of the home that you sell. The majority of you, like, your minimum commission you're bringing home is a couple grand. Okay. So that means that if you get 5, 6, 7 clients a month through this, we are like doing well. A lot of you are in larger price points than that.
yeah,
Okay. So there is not a niche too small when you have a high ticket offer. You just have to be willing to speak to it consistently and become the expert on it. And quite frankly, in a world full of generalizations and chat GPT responses, like, I believe we're moving to more of a Renaissance era where it's like, not everyone can do this and specializes in this niche. And therefore, I'm going to work with this person because they specialize in this niche. And Randy, you shared one that you're looking to expand on. I'd love for you to share your thought on that.
yeah, absolutely. I'll share my thought, and I'll just say that we had to push through that because the thought of an agent is, well, if I niche down, I'm going to lose other business. And I just want to say before I share my niche that the people that want to obtain ownership are going to appreciate the value of what you're putting out, and they're going to rise to your level. So a lot of times we worry about if we're speaking to the move up buyer, or we're speaking to the investor, or we're speaking to this person, we're going to eliminate the entry level buyer. We're going to eliminate this person. No, when you start to empower them, that's the people I pursue. The people that gave me information and exposed me to something I didn't even know was possible, I pursue it and I say, hey, listen, I heard you talk all about XYZ. What would you think about ABC? Because I now see them as an authority.
Mm-hmm.
So you will still capture those people, but instead of capturing all of that demographic, you will actually capture the people willing to do the work and that trust you. So,
Wait,
but as to,
before Randy shares her niche, we have a lot of people watching right now, and I'm curious, what's your niche, guys? Have you guys niched
yes,
down? Have you chosen a niche? Do you work with, I love first-time home buyers. I love working with divorced individuals. I do estate sales. I do probate. I do, gosh, vacation rentals, second homes, Airbnb. There are so many incredible niches out there for realtors. So what's your niche? Hit us in the comments. I'm super curious what people say, because if you're struggling with your sales, I'm telling you, there are riches and niches, people.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Min has come back to watch our second episode.
Third
Third
episode. It's
episode.
going to be our third episode. I love it. And so they're popping up. It's a new construction, military. So here's what I would challenge you guys to do is come up with a clever name, and this is, maybe we can do this live for me, but when you make it a program, or you make it something that is marketable and that people can come to for your niche, such as, like, always talking about your first time home buyers program or your military program, something like that.
You mean that you should brand something bigger to yourself?
100%. So on that note, the niche for me is I love, and I want to niche down further on this. This fills my soul, helping people that are exiting city living and going into rural living. So they want to acquire acreage. Like at our tours, we're talking about the counter is plenty big enough for sourdough bread making. Like this like excites my freaking heart. Like I don't want any more high rises in my life. That's not that I've ever had high rises, but I want more land, more acreage, simpler living. So I'm just trying to figure out, Miss Brains, you're like my smart friend. So Caitlin guessed compound for me. So I live a family compound, and I want to help people to either build family compounds or build sustainable lives on smaller acreage.
So this is a great question. Doing a live branding would be really tough. It's like a superpower that comes naturally. If you put me on the spot, it is tough. But I love what you're doing. Here's the thing, guys, is that if you choose a niche, like Randy's saying, okay, and you don't brand to that niche, then it's difficult for it to take on a life of its own. It's difficult to move into the attraction model. You'll
Yep.
always be in the like outbound model. Okay.
Yep.
So this is an important part of the process. So you help people leave city living and move out into the world. Now, the best branding for like a niche program, in my opinion, is something that people already use and say. We're just applying it in a different way. So how do people describe that already? I don't even know. This is yours.
Yeah. So kind of like tying into, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is where like search really comes into play, right? Us naming our military relocation program PCS Pay It Forward, including PCS, was really important
Right.
because people are already searching for PCS, right? And so when people are leaving the city and they are searching for something, and so we want to find out what they're searching, and then I like to brand around it. City to farm, I like that.
Yeah.
Great idea,
Yeah, something
Christine.
like that
So
would be.
you have another business partner who's a branding expert. We should get her on here. I was gonna say it's not this Christina, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty close.
Yeah, Kristen. So Lauren, this is something you were just saying that I think is so powerful, right? Speaking to them. So when it comes to content, a mistake we see agents make quite frequently is, again, they don't know where to start. And so they start and they get an expert, and maybe they're getting scripts, or maybe they're having somebody shoot theirs. And I just want to use myself as an example. So I kind of was like, okay, I have an idea. I want to put out some better content. So back in December, I decided I'll spend 1 hour shooting content a month and get it ready to go so it's more effective. Well, I shot that content, and I did a real quick, easy video that was like, I think it was like the question that I was asked is like, how does coming from redneck roots help you to sell more real estate? Which I totally loved answering the question, right? Because if you have redneck roots, like we are innovative, okay? We get the job done. We figure out how to do the work. So I loved answering the question. Then I got the video back. And I got the video back and I'm sitting in this highly produced environment and I have worn, a nice, a nicer level of t-shirt. I only get so fancy, okay? And so I've worn a nicer level of shirt. And then they've put the mic right here so it looks like a pin, the realtor pin.
Mm-hmm.
So and then so it looks like I'm wearing like a realtor pin. And then the clips that are showing as I'm talking about like my redneck roots are very much clips that are like gorgeous ranch properties, like
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous ranch. So all of that to say that it kind of was like I was saying words to one audience, but the packaging
Audio
didn't
wasn't
match.
matching visual.
Right.
It's
So I
like
was
if I
like, this
was
is
sitting in a Lamborghini talking to you guys about how I don't like Lambo bros.
right, right, right.
You were being the person that person doesn't align with. This is actually something that I was talking about with Brad today, and I plan on doing a video on this week, guys. So stay tuned. But like one of the struggles with content creation is that, especially with agents, is that we speak directly to our offer. We don't speak to other sides of the person, right? And so when you look at how someone identifies with themselves, right? Someone who wants to leave the big city and wants to, live out in the, in the open, in these open spaces, open farms, and like ranch life and things like that, like they view themselves in a certain
Right.
way. And not only that, they in their mind have crafted an enemy. Okay. And so you aligning, like looking like the enemy but speaking their language, will actually just confuse the shit out
Yeah.
of anyone who watches that video.
Yeah. Well, and that was my exact well, and it didn't feel great for me. I also lead a monthly content pop up in my market to help business owners, and I had somebody attend for the second time, and she had asked me in between, what do I wear? And I was like, wear whatever you would wear to your actually meet your businesses. So when I put out the email for this one, I said, hey, come comfortable, come the way that you are. Right. And it was so funny because I love this gal's personality. It is like off the charts. I love it. But the first one, she came like in a blazer and ready to go. And yesterday she came in like this super comfy, like purple with smiley face, kind of like hippie, like sweater.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this actually feels more authentic to you. And
Mm-hmm.
so back to our point, don't make the mistake of taking the time and the effort, which do take the time and effort to niche down and to know your audience, but then go and try to craft something that's not authentic to you and isn't going to feel authentic to your audience either. Like we got it together the next month. I was like, okay, that's not working again. We all know that I'm 90% of the time in a hoodie or a t-shirt. So let's keep it real there. So in the next video I made on a couch with my daughter in a hoodie, having a conversation, talking about, how much we love blue collar clients. So it became a little bit more authentic, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to overthink this stuff, but the little tiny attention that we can pay to detail makes all the difference, right?
Yes, I came up with your brand in my head while we were talking. Hey guys, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is our live podcast that we recorded live on Instagram called Content Strategy School for Realtors. Randy's account, our goal is always to have 5 agents reach out to us and say, hey, I need your help. Right? I need help with marketing. I need help with branding. I need help with systems. I need help with scaling. I have hit multiple 6 figures. I want to hit 7. Where do I go next? I'm about to get out of business. I need someone to help save me. We are all about however agents need help. So do me a favor and follow Randy's account, that agent success account. I'm going to hit her in the DMs. And all you have to say is, I need help. And help is right there. I think there's a lot of agents. Look, I believe that in this world, you just have to be brave enough to ask for help. Okay. So that's all you got to do. All right. So Randy wants to niche down. We're talking about the importance of speaking to a niche who can afford to pay you, and the content that you put out is going to attract the person you want to work with. And so in doing this, you can create like a niche program for the people that you want to work with that can be more powerful versus just saying, I help people leave the city and move to the country. Okay. So this is Randy's new program that will be vetted out for us. But it's your family farm. It's your
I like that.
family farm. We specialize in helping families transition from cramped city living to wide open spaces.
So good. So good. And yeah, and here's the thing, Lauren, when we get out of the mindset of thinking we need to attract everyone, and we move into the mindset of being specific, it is also, and this is my jam, this is what I've helped women do, is build a damn business you love. Why do you want to build a business and attract things that just suck out your energy and that you're not pumped and excited about? Yesterday on mine and Lauren's call with our agents, it was interesting because Lauren asked two questions to our agents, and myself included, that were really thought provoking. And one of them was like, what does your ideal day look like? And I was sitting in that, and I was actually ready to answer it live on the spot, but I didn't. And you know what was interesting to me, Lauren? I hadn't really thought about it before. And I think we all have that pre-programmed wiring of like, oh, I hit my power hour. I did this, I did that, right? All the things. But when I got past that for a minute, I was like, you know what I love? I hadn't shown houses in almost 3 years. As you know, I had scaled out of showing. I had had a showing agent. Things are different. I'm in the mud again. And it is so freaking, like, the last couple weekends, I take my husband, I even took my mom this last weekend, my husband and my mom. We drove out to rural areas. We showed properties. We stopped somewhere and got lunch. We were like talking with our clients. I'm like, oh guys, you got to check out the well house. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that view. And I'm like, and when you asked me about my perfect day, I was on fire. Guys, your perfect day all of a sudden can be exciting and invigorating. And as to what Lauren said to our agents yesterday, you can build a business that you don't have to retire from because you freaking love it if you will take the step in speaking to a niche.
Yeah, the worst mistake I think I made as an agent was writing myself out of the client experience. So they tell you when, so I became very blessed and very successful very quickly, largely because of my marketing and branding ability, which was wonderful. And then, the first way to scale is someone else shows homes, right? But I'm like you, like that lit my soul on fire. So within, my first year, and then when I looked to scale with my team, so 6 months into probably my second year, I had written myself out of every single showing. And a lot of times with the military, we do like video. But now when I'm talking to agents about scaling their business, the most important thing to me is like, look, there is the smart way to scale, and then there is like the
Yeah.
passionate way to scale. And the reality is that like I don't think that realtors get into this business because they want to just make money. This business is way too effing hard for someone to just be here for a paycheck. It's because they love serving people. They love the complicated problems they get to help people solve. They love that feeling of handing over the keys. And so, we have such a high burnout rate a lot of times because the first step in building your successful real estate business is giving up the small things that you love about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I would love to see with this shift in the market with us to reconsider what a successful business looks like that says, okay, these are things I don't like to do. Now, how do I get myself out of those so I can show homes all day? Because I love that part. I just want to listen to, the content strategy school for realtors all day long in my car showing homes. Like, who wouldn't love that?
Right.
I really want to challenge how agents view building a successful business, because I think it's one of the reasons why we have such a high burnout rate. Because it's so driven on the numbers side, but it lacks on like the purpose-filled side. And most people, again, don't get into real estate. Of course, you want to make good money, you want to have great freedom, but they get in it also because they do have a heart of service. And somewhere along the way, our freaking industry lost that.
Yeah.
They lost that. And we started putting top producers on stage and my multi-million-dollar mega teams. That's great, but like also show me the agent who's serving the community on like a super deep level that is like that's who we have been for a very long period of time. And we kind of lost the consumer's trust when we stopped being that.
Yeah, well, and that consumer's trust is something we talked about yesterday, like whether, we like it or not, again, the market and the industry is changing. And if we can change the framework around how that is seen, that's going to be good, because I think the consumer is going to start to see the skill rise to the top. We're already in a skill-based market, and that's going to continue, right? But to your point, yes, and Min actually said it on our last podcast episode as well, is he realized that he needed to be the person in the front of his content. So as we talk to you about content, this is something that I have been guilty of. And just like Lauren, I have scaled out of the wrong places in my business, right? Like one of the things I'm known for is delivering an experience, because I passionately believe you can have a crappy transaction and a hell of an experience all in one, right? And so, but I started seeing that my people weren't raving about their experiences. And I was like, what is going on? Like, this is very not normal. And it was because I was out of the wrong places. I wasn't delivering the experience. It wasn't coming from me, right? And the same thing with your content. we I'm not trying to be a jerk, but
Oh, you're
nobody
going to be a
need
jerk. Go for it, Randy.
nobody is moved by the stale graphic post that even the cute ones, even the ones with, with your kiddos here and there. I do them. I do them. But even when they have the great caption, like they're moved by actually seeing you.
Mhm.
So if you're not showing up, I have a goal. I have a goal in my content. One scroll and hate me or love me. That is my goal. One scroll. If you come to any of my platforms, Instagram specifically, if you do one scroll, I want you to love me or hate me because I want you to either stay or go. I don't want mediocre people. So
Mhm.
nobody is going to know if they love or hate you if you got a bunch of static graphics or if somebody else is doing your content or if you're doing the same reel. And I'm guilty of it. Sometimes there was one the other day. I was like, I'll do this hook. It was fun, right? But if you don't have the authentic content in there, they're not going to be able to do that. They're
Yeah.
just not going to be able to.
Yeah. I totally agree. We got some questions here. Um, oh, wonderful. I'm not quite sure how helpful that would be. Sorry, I don't know how good taking live questions are on a podcast as I like read through these and you guys are listening in your car.
I'm
So just
Maybe
remember,
we
guys,
can do a
Lauren,
Q&A podcast where we go back and we grab all the questions and we say, today we're doing the Q&As.
you know what I love about the podcast that inspired this one is that they literally have these conversations in front of everyone. It's like building in front of everyone. This is a big trending hashtag right now on Twitter. Is like build in public, right? Is nothing is perfect. Nothing is planned. One of the things that me and Randy have talked about off camera is about how we need to stop referencing on our podcast the conversations we're having off camera. And how many times have we said that today? And so here's the like it just is, guys. Like we
Right.
spend time with each other like when we're not live in front of you. And so it's definitely something that needs to be fixed. If you ever want a sneak peek of what that looks like, we host a mastermind every Wednesday for all of our agents to help them build their businesses.
I've
We talk
just
about various
decided,
topics.
I've decided that our weekly training, I mean, obviously it's private. That's why it's not viral. But I'm like, you know what? Even within our own agents, our only issue is that it's underexposed because it is freaking fire. And I don't like, I'm not a person, I struggle with, being
Ugh, you're
as
the
confident as I should be
worst.
because,
You are the
but
worst.
but I was
Let's
thinking
talk
about it.
about
I was
Randy
like,
being the worst for
dang,
a minute. Randy will be like the most qualified person at the table and then be like, but you should probably interview five more people. And I'm like, no, no. You
I'm
underplay your
working on it.
value. It's part of
Thankfully,
your
I have Lauren
charm.
Taylor. Thankfully, I have Lauren Taylor in my corner to remind me that
And
I'm
I'm
a
just like,
baddie
you
all
don't
on
need
my
to interview
own.
five more people. It doesn't get better than this. Just sign up.
Yeah, a hundred
For
percent. Well,
whatever it is we're talking about, I'm confident no one will beat Randy.
well, definitely not the two of us together. I went to a class yesterday, Lauren, and it was a really good class. There's always, right, if you're a student and you understand the value in being a student, there's always value to get. And I got great value from the class I went to, but I also had a huge realization. And I was like, dang, we equipped our agents. We equipped our agents. And sometimes I think that what happens is we don't realize how much we equip them because unfortunately we can only create the opportunities. They have to actually
Mhm.
execute them. And so sometimes when when you don't see as many success stories as you like, you forget that, wow, I'm actually bringing the value, right?
Yeah, I think
So,
that it's been a long time since I've been exposed to other people's like real estate coaching styles, if you will.
right.
Like, gosh, I'm just thinking back to like my first brokerage when I was like learning how to like be in real estate, but like we can talk about a tenth of the things that is like get on the phone, get on the dialer, work your sphere of influence. Like it's just a completely different vibe of the depth that we're talking about, right? That yeah. Anyway, if you would like to join us for a mastermind, we would love to have you. We host it every single Wednesday. We have a great group of people who just
Amazing.
we try to speak as openly as possible. I think that is a space that is not created for agents, where it's hard to find a space where you can be honest about what you're struggling with. And then me and Randy work through agent problems, helping them build pipelines, systems, processes, and also like mindset. Yesterday was a big mindset call about look, if you are not building your perfect business right now, like what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like what are you doing? Like we are got into business as business owners to have the ability to craft our time and the people we want to work with and craft our income. And somewhere along the way that got lost maybe because we wanted to pay the bills. But what that sometimes does is that typecasts you into the business you were forced to build versus the business you want to build. And
Ooh,
so
tweet.
for tweet, we'll tell you about that in a minute. um, but and then you get stuck. some of y'all are stuck in businesses. It's like, this is not what I set out to build. But here's the thing, you're not the person that you
Right.
were 3 years ago when you started building this. So now it's time to reassess, to say, what's my perfect day? What's my needed income? And how quickly? And this is really powerful, guys, because when I do this with business owners, and I usually will do this like with our agents when I meet with them one-on-one, Randy, and also like my LTVIP clients, like there is usually like a 5-year plan. Okay, where you want to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they will literally give me some like pie in the sky. And then what do? We look at what they've built, right? What do they have access to? What's their assets? Do they have an account? Do they have a database? Do they have a sphere? Where is their superpowers, right? And then we look at their financial goals. And I'm not kidding you, 90% of those calls, we are able to craft their 5-year plan in 90 days. So here's the thing. You may not be the person who's qualified to do that for yourself. Sometimes you need that outside perspective, someone who's failed more than you or grown more than you, or someone who's just willing to say, like, why do you want to hold on to this for 5 more years?
Right.
And so I think that agents specifically right now need to take a big step back in their business and ask themselves, like, is this a business I set out to build? And if the answer is no, if you're not living your perfect day, and if you're not getting closer to your perfect day, then it is time to pivot. You got to pivot hard. You got to pivot fast, because this industry is not going to wait for you for 5 more years.
Not at all. You know, the agent, I've probably had about 6 calls in the last week with the agents, and the amount of loyalty that agents have to people that aren't serving them in this season blows my mind, because loyalty is not staying stagnant in a place that no longer serves you. Loyalty is being able to have an open conversation and have somebody champion you to do what you need and to pivot so that you can have everything that you want. And so I couldn't agree with you more that the power in proximity, like if I could give you one piece of advice, is get around the right people. Because to Lauren's point, she said they can actually achieve it in 90 days. Also, often we can find that you're not even on the right trajectory. If you would have put 3 years in on the path you were in, you were going to be farther from your 5-year goal than you were going to be close to it, right? So you
We're building in the opposite direction. That is very true. That is a very real realization that happens.
Yeah, like you have got to be around people that keep you continually. I say it all the time. My biggest business hack has been I continually level up the amount of the people I'm around, and it levels up my bottom line. So basically, I suck less.
I love that. I love that quote. That's like should be like a tagline of our podcast, like follow content strategy school, suck less.
Yeah, suck less.
Do less, suck less. Can we get some votes on that in the comments? If your reviews on our 3rd episode say suck less. Oh, this is bad. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Listen, all kidding aside, you know, one of the reasons we decided to launch this podcast was our own agents. How freaking blessed are we that as we sat on the Wednesday calls and we were just pouring into our agents, the comments were like, you two need a podcast. Like, I could watch Randy and Lauren all day. And I mean, it just filled our hearts. And so we were like, why the heck aren't we doing this? We want to empower more people. So help us as we have launched this podcast. And we're on different podcast platforms. If you're listening to it there or you're jumping over there, please leave us a review. Let us know what you're loving. Let us know what you would like to see. We want this to be agent driven, but we want to show up and help you do more with less. That is our mission here, is we want to keep you in the business. We want to help you achieve, whether you're that top producing agent that's already, you know, where you want to be in production, but you're looking for something different, or you're that brand new agent. We want you to get that next level of success, but not having to do all the things, just the right things.
I love it. Guys, go ahead and go follow the Agent Success account, which Randy is on right now. We're going to drop a link to the podcast in the story. You can go listen to our past episodes and more episodes to come. If you also know someone that you feel like would be a great guest on Content Strategy for Realtors, we would love Content Strategy School for Realtors. We would love to hear about them. You can nominate them by shooting us a DM on Randy's account also. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Just remember, help is just a DM away. All you got to do is DM us and say, I need help, and help will be there.
Love it. Bye, guys.